Welcome. Seifu Andy here. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the power of breath. And the breath is just the key player, not only in life and the sustaining and continuation of life that we experience this moment-to-moment rebirth, if you will, of the moment, and revitalizing the body. But the breath has this really powerful connection to the movement of energy, to the cultivation of energy, as well as it's a mechanism that connects spirit into the body and into this form. So breath can be used to self-heal, can be used in meditation, it can be used to become centered and balance our nervous system. And the breath is just so potent and helps us to reestablish emotional balance, helps us recover from emotional upheavals and triggers and whatnot. So there are so many powerful breathing forms and qigong, yoga, pranayama, every culture on the planet. None of this is unique to China or in India. And for yoga, all this is everywhere and in some form or another. So either it's through chanting and singing and ceremony, or it's through different traditions that are passed on. So with the breath, one of the first places we want to go is return our natural breath. So aside from when a baby is hungry or distressed for some reason, when a baby is at rest and at peace, you will see the infant's belly rise and fall. Their breath is connected into the belly. Of course, the lungs are up in the chest, and we're getting movement through the diaphragm. But by exercising this deep abdominal contraction, expansion, or even a gentle version of that natural breath, we help to increase the range of movement of the diaphragm, and all kinds of great things happen from there. And the breath is so closely connected to our psychological states, our emotional states. Every emotion has a corresponding breath, and it's a little bit unique to each person what that emotion will bring up in the body, the physiology, but it'll affect the nervous system and the breath response. So if you find yourself holding your breath, or you're shallow breathing, or those kinds of things, you will find, if you pay attention, when you're in an emotionally aroused state of sadness, of anger, or even bliss, right? You'll find that the breath has shifted, right? So the way my teacher teaches, and the wisdom to share, is that if the emotion can affect the body and the breath and the mind and our energy, right? Well, what if we tap into the breath? We can also then shift our state of mind. We can shift our emotional states, our energy state, our quality of life. So by becoming aware of the breath and practicing different skills of breathing, we can begin to retrain our nervous system, our breath, to stay in this natural, rooted, healthy breath, and very much how we get into the body is through the breath. So if we have that awareness. And as we experience life and trauma and different things, sometimes the breath shifts to intercostal breathing, which is not as deep penetration of oxygen into lungs, not as much evacuation, expelling of old air, of materials that are released through the breath, the cleansing of the breath, and especially if we're rapid upper chest breathing, very little actual gas exchange taking place, and then where we can become issues with the lungs, chronic lung stuff, emotional stuff will build up in the lungs. So we want to bring that breath slow and deep. We do that through natural breathing. We have a set of mantras or a connective breath pattern known as HoMeSo or HoMeSo Sa, and our cleansing breath and our fire flower breath, our fire breath. You may be familiar with the yogic Agni breath, the fire breath. Well, it's a beautiful breathing technique, and I love breathing techniques. So much power in the breath. But fire flower breath is really a form of external or hard qigong breathing. And so we'll talk about different breathing techniques as we go and the ways that they can be used. And again, we always want to select from the menu things that are really most appropriate to today's body, today's state of being, and what would best suit and serve us. So following will be some videos on natural breathing. I have a guided natural breathing meditation but there's so much to cover, and just wanted to kind of give you a little idea of how we'll be using the breath, and you know, explore the universe. Right? There's so much good stuff out there. So take what's for you, leave behind what's not, and maybe if it doesn't grab you right away, maybe it's for some other time. You know, like picking up a book and you read half a chapter, and then 10 years later you pick it up and you're like, oh, I love this book. I needed that, but you know, you were supposed to get it, but it didn't really come into play till later. So, you know, just be fluid, adaptable, and most importantly, stay in your center, stay relaxed, and that's where your true power is right here. Okay. Peace and love. Namaste.